Hey, big dog.
Oh, I haven't got you. Stand by. Had ya, and then I didn't. All right, I think I've got you now.
Silent homie.
Hey, how are ya?
Yeah, I'm amazing, dude. How's life? What's doing?
Mate, life is full throttle right now.
Fresh haircut, daddy. Looking good.
A little bit of a fade and a comb over happening.
You know, the same, my man.
Ooh, that is fast.
The closest
Oh.
fade you can get.
That's the best skin fade I've ever
You
seen,
know,
anyway.
it's like I shaved my head probably. Oh, what would have it been? Like 10 years I've been shaving my head for now, and there's. It's weird because, like, I think well, at least what I've noticed with not having hair is that um, like a hairstyle or a hairdo is a really great way to express yourself, like who you are. And it's like you can have like some maybe a guy's got long hair or maybe a guy's got short hair or even just the way that they groom it. It says a lot about the person.
Mhm.
And I don't think maybe people like I don't know maybe everyone I can identify that, but I think when you don't have it, like when I don't like I can't have a well I can grow like a ponytail. I said to myself, like as a joke, I was like, when my hair goes grey, I'm just going to grow like one of them fucking Hindu Indian
The Krishna
ponytails
style.
and just and I'll just plait it forever. And I think I just grow it. But yeah, I think a hairstyle is an amazing way to express yourself.
Absolutely. That
Yeah,
resonates.
says a lot, says a lot. But yeah, what's happening, man? How's life? What's news?
Full throttle, grinding at the moment. I've been in this chair for the last 2.5 days, just
Yeah,
in
right.
it.
Yeah,
And noticed it this morning. I was at the gym actually. I went for a 5 a.m. training session and it was a 40-minute workout and actually reminded me of the F45 days when I was like coaching there and doing some training there because it was just like non-stop, which is odd for CrossFit. You know, you
yeah,
don't go and do a 40-minute workout for CrossFit
correct.
all the time. And so I got halfway through and I was just about to pull on that rower and I said to my mate, it's a bad day to be a rower, that's for sure.
Yeah,
And then as
that's
soon
it.
as I pulled, my back goes twinge, and I'm like, oh, it's a bad day to be Will. Oh, fuck. I had to get off. I had to stop the workout and just roll
Wow.
out hips. Yeah.
I enjoy being back in like that CrossFit environment, that style.
I really am, man, because like I spent over a decade, more than a
Yeah,
decade in the CrossFit space, competing as well at a high level. And I got really consumed by the culture of CrossFit, where
yeah,
now I'm going for the training element, the fun of it, the
community.
community aspect. And I think I'm the only one that rocks up and I've got a set of keys and a water bottle. Everybody else got bags and stuff. And like, I'm just like,
Yeah, yeah,
let's go.
yeah,
I got one
yeah,
pair of shoes. Let's go.
yeah. Yeah, I can really resonate with that because I was the same dude. Like I was fucking obsessed with CrossFit from like 2011 until like for like 8 years or 9 years, and oh sorry, from 2011 to for probably like 6 years or 7 years, like balls deep, and like there was no CrossFit gym in my area, so I was traveling 40 minutes. You know, like no one travels 40 minutes to go to a gym, right? But I was doing that like 5 days a week just because I wanted to train in some dude's garage, you know, like, and that was,
Oh, damn.
um, so this was, so it's probably even before 011 actually, because my daughter, it's probably like 2010 or 9 or 10. It was early. And there was like one CrossFit gym in Maitland in some guy's garage, which is, it's actually CrossFit Maitland now. It was the first CrossFit gym is in a big building now. But um, I remember exactly all them things. It's like you had like a pair of shoes to do a fucking wad in, then you had your Olympic shoes, and then you had like pair of shoes that you'd done fucking rope climbs in, and there's like all this random stuff, right? And the I was there like just to compete. Like I love because I used to play like rugby. I think you used to play rugby league as well, and I used to play rugby league, and like all I wanted to do was compete, and I had went for a big period without playing competitive sport, and I looked at
Mhm.
CrossFit as a way that I could sort of start competing again. And I used to
Mhm.
only compete I used to try to beat everyone in the gym, right? And it's not until recently, probably like the last 3 or 4 years, my whole mindset around competition has changed. And what I've learned is that like you can be the best in the gym, but it's like winning a heat. Like if you're in the slowest heat, it doesn't really fucking matter, you know. And it's like you can win a workout in a CrossFit gym, but if everyone in your environment is just like kind of average, then it doesn't really matter. Like because you're going to go to a different environment, and you could be on the bottom of the pool again. And that's when it really stuck out to me that you know, when people say like the biggest competition is yourself, like I never really understood that until recently. It's like you're totally right. Like if you're constantly improving personally, then your progression or where you end up is limitless because you're only trying to beat yourself.
Absolutely. I learned that playing golf, man. Like I would play golf on a Friday after work with some friends, and really it was just a social banter to go play golf. But I noticed how hard I was getting on myself if I had a bad game. Yeah. And then, you know, the next week you'd be like, all right, I'm going to fix this aspect, fix this because I want to be better than my last week's score. Not better than anyone else, but better than my last week's score. And that really taught me a lot. And then like the integrity of playing golf, like playing it where it lays, counting your strokes, like all of the things. And I was just like, right, I think I get it now, you know, like, I played professional sport. It was soccer. I played professional soccer all my life. And then, you know, when I retired from soccer, I joined the military, went back into soccer. And then in 2007, started CrossFit. And then same thing, walked into the box, just wanted to be the quickest and the strongest. And that wasn't always the case. I was definitely up there. But as soon as I left CrossFit, I really started to assess what I was training for. And it's only since recently going back to CrossFit Gnarly at Currumbin down here. And like the community itself isn't an elite gym. They're elite people for sure. The community is elite. But in terms of athletic performance, it's not like any other gym I've ever been to where it's super competitive. People are chasing a leaderboard, nothing at all. And so I can go in there and do absolutely everything that they prescribe at an RX weight or time or whatever it is. And I still don't feel like I'm like trying to compete. I'm like excited about getting to the end of the workout so I can go high five everyone. You know, that's thing.
Yeah. And there's something really special about, you know, like say you're deep into a workout and everyone is like in the same pain cave as you, and you sort of glance at someone, or you might be mid workout. You just give someone a bit of a low five. It's like, hey, we're here together. Yeah, it's a pretty cool feeling.
Yeah, as soon as I said that thing this morning on the roll, my buddy was right next to me. I'm like, it's a bad day to be a row. And he's like, oh, yeah. I was about to regret this. I'm like, nah, man, it's time to go. And he's like, yep. And he dominated.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I'm sure that that community aspect as well, like I'm sure that there's guys in that gym, especially now that you're training there, someone like really positive like you, or that has an athletic background like you, that like you inspire and motivate them guys too, because like deep down they'd be, you know, trying to lift a little bit more than you, and if you can be that marker for them, then fantastic. I
really noticed that actually, like when it comes to the lifts, you'll partner up because it's not a huge gym, it's quite small, but partnering up on the lifts, on the strength sections. And on the last 3 weeks specifically, I've been inundated with requests for guys to come train and like lift with me. And I'm like, hell yeah. And they're like, oh, but you'll lift more than me. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, lift what you can. I'm here with you, man. Like, let's do this together.
Yeah. Sure. Do you still play golf now on Fridays? Is that a thing?
Not every week, but I do still play golf. Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually funny because I don't know if it's just the age that I'm at now, but it's like I'm drawn towards that. Like for the longest time, man, I was like that. I couldn't imagine a fucking worse way to spend a day. Like what? Like it just seems like a waste, right? But now I don't know. I'm not sure if it's the age or what, but I'm like sort of drawn to it. I'm like maybe it is that element of like improvement. It's like just an incredible game because you must stay composed at all times. And if you lose your composure, she's all over. And
it's the ultimate metaphor, man. You've got point A to point B, and in between the journey, the process, you got to be present with every single bit, you know?
Yeah. There's actually, I forget the title of it, and I haven't read it, but I understand the premise of that book, and it's about tennis, and it's written by a psychologist, and it's like the game of tennis or something like that. But like he goes into, you know, like when you see a tennis player lose their composure and they fucking break their rackets and things like that. like imagine being on the other side of that. Like, you know, you have them, right? Like when they're so frustrated that they've lost all composure and they're yelling at that fucking umpire and they're breaking their tennis racket, and even golf, like they fucking throw their club or something. Like, you don't come back from that typically, you know. Yeah, it's interesting, and I think golf's a great way, because it is obviously an individual sport, but a lot of the time you're playing in a team environment. As of not like soccer, like if you lose, the whole team loses. In golf, yeah, it's like boxing. You lose, or like jiu-jitsu. Like I've done jiu-jitsu for 5 years, and I think that was an incredible, because I transitioned from CrossFit to jiu-jitsu, and the thing that really stood out to me with jiu-jitsu was that in CrossFit, like when you're tired or you're really exhausted, you can physically stop, right? If you want, you can stop. There's no one pushing you. But it's like that mindset to try to keep going to get a better result, blah, 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 blah. What I found out about jiu-jitsu is that if you and I are rolling and I'm tired, if I stop, I'm going to get fucking choked. You know, like it pushed me through, like where I would typically stop in a CrossFit workout to have a breath or just a quick, couple of breaths. In jiu-jitsu, I was forced to keep going because I had to try to get out of that sticky situation. And it actually helped not only my life, but it helped like CrossFit and helped workouts, because I'm like, oh, wow, I used to think that that's where I had to stop. But I was actually here. It just helped push you.
But even prior to the taking a rest, like if I can see your breathing and we're rolling together, I can see you breathing out your mouth. I got you, and I know I've got you. You know, and it's that momentum of keeping the game face. You know, if something's painful and you're in the suck, it's like your body language and your face can improve the amount of performance that you've got going on just by simply focusing your attention on, okay, this is hard, but I'm going to apply myself and I'm going to do the best that I can and make sure I keep composure in all effort. And it says a lot about, the way we apply ourselves to physical and emotional activities. Before we got on the roll this one of the other guys was like, oh, fuck, this is going to suck. And I'm like, no, man, don't say that. Like, okay, it might suck, but really just sit here and go, this is going to be the best thing I do today, Correct. And as soon as he did that, he went into the double unders and he's like, fuck, that made a big difference. I'm like, of course it did, man. Now you believe in yourself,
Yeah. Powerful, eh? Like it's like when you express them words, or like it's a decision. Like if you decide that it's going to be hard, then of course it's going to be hard. If you decide that it's not, then of course it's not. Like it's perception and a decision.
It's what you said this morning on your run. You're like, the conditions, they're perfect if you want them.
Yeah, definitely, dude. And it's actually funny because the guy that you introed me to, Matty Jackson from Maitland, who lives in town over. Like he reached out to me after that and he's like, fuck dude, like thanks so much for putting that up, because like I wasn't going to run this morning, and like what you said is fucking bang on. And like it's really cool when you can sort of share like your thoughts and feelings, and it helps. And like he's a savage, like but it also helps him as well. So that's really cool. Yeah, it's really cool. So the last 2.5 days just like work stuff with what is it specifically? Stuff with everything.
Building this community online, man. It's like I am in the process of developing a communal space digitally where people can come and access, not just my services, but a whole range of health value, essentially. Like my specializations are obviously nervous system regulation, psychology, psychotherapy, behavioral science, plant medicines, all the things. And I'm trying to like identify the different layers of meeting people where they're at. If they can arrive in this community and have a shit ton of value that's not overwhelming, but provides insight to their day and makes their day better. It's just really identifying where that starts, where that finishes, and then building some courses out the back of that. I got some live talks that I'm going to do each week on there. We've just, specialists from all over the globe join me, talk about things, and really bring forth a digital community that people can arrive, grab a ton of value and insight, heal themselves, and progressively step forward towards the life of freedom that they're searching for. In the demographic I've been working with in the past 5-6 years, I've gone from working with general population who are feeling super stuck in their 9 to 5 to now leaning into higher performers who are at the top already of their craft and they've mastered their craft. But from point A to point B, they've lost themselves. And now it's like that transition of identities. Maybe they want to stay in this craft, maybe they don't, but they're working with more of the fundamentals of what makes us who we are, much rather than working towards self-development, so to speak. But yeah, it's been huge the last 2.5 days, just, you know, talking to the computer, the camera, getting some videos up, writing some articles, piecing together different sessions for people to attend. And yeah, it's been huge.
That's exciting, dude. So the live ones that you do, they'll get broadcasted live, and then your community can access them at a later date as well. Is that right?
Yeah. So they can access the live if they want. So it'll be midday. They can access that midday. And the reason I do that is because we have people from all over the globe in there already. And I just wanted to make the timing both efficient and, you know, appropriate for everyone across the board. But it'll be recorded, so it'll be put up in the archive section where people can go back and listen, put in the feed so people can comment and create questions and whatnot. And yeah.
Is it who's the demo? Like, is it mostly business owners? Is it all sorts of different people, like employees, dads? Is it for men only? Women, like?
So we have the main banner, My Next Stop. Me. Myself and Scotty. Scotty runs more of the physicality, where he'll be training and coaching people in prepping for some sort of goal, some sort of task, a lot of mindset stuff in there. And there's a bit of wealth growth as well, where the other end of the scale where I arrive, I've got more of the high performer alpha type, where we've got business owners, entrepreneurs, CEOs, you know, company managers, whatever it looks like. And at this stage, mostly men, but I'm more open to men and women, where Scotty's dealing a lot with the men at the other level. And it's strange, man, because, you know, the way you engage with the people that I'm talking about, the demo that I'm talking about, they're not hanging out on social media. You know, they're not hanging out on Instagram looking for coaching or anything like that. They're in other locations. And so there's a lot of word of mouth, a lot of networking. There's a lot of reaching out to people I know that might know. There's a whole heap of that to chase down, and you know, just getting in front of one person can really open up that gate to continue moving forward. So I planned a digital podcast tour. So it starts next week, and on a few massive podcasts to kick off for the start of the week. And then we'll progressively move forward from there. Also doing the documentary of the run. Phil and I have been post-production with that.
Wow.
So we're gonna integrate the film with a film tour and a podcast tour at the same time.
Wow. The footage that you've sort of been putting up lately of that run, like, dude, you got some incredible content and footage from that, eh?
Dude, it has been absolutely wild to like go back and see some of the moments that I was in where, I mean, you were with me the whole time, so you've seen a lot of it as well, but the behind the scenes stuff that River was capturing and that Phil was capturing, and then hearing me talk and in that moment, like I remember being in the moment. But now from the external party looking inwards, I was just like, oh shit, I was pretty messed up, you know.
There was one that's really clear to me, and you posted the other day. It's like when it was really foggy, and it was that drone footage, and there's like early morning, and it's just like you just like running through the fog. I get fucking chills even just talking about it, but it was like, such a powerful video. So where would that get posted to? Is it YouTube? Like, where's it going to land?
So the video, once done, we're going to submit it to a film festival in Banff, and then one here in Australia, and then we'll tour and release it in different locations. So we'll have like physical screenings and events, and then the idea is to sell it independently, or at least stage it independently, where we can get it into or in front of, you know, the right people. It's going to be on my website as well for people to access.
Paywall?
Yeah, contribute to the film tour, you know, like, and it'd be awesome to be in the space of being able to ask somebody to invest and be able to set this thing up and have it as big as it should be. So we're toying with that idea at the moment, speaking to someone or anyone who would be interested in investing in the project itself, so that, you know, for the second documentary, where we've already got that momentum, because there's going to be 3 series. There's this one, The second stage is the development of the work that I'm doing. So the first movie is the experiment, all the things I learned about the body, psychology, put it into practice with this experiment of the run. The second one is the essence of that work, so healing. And then the third one is the building of the village. The village is the space that I want to build on a huge property, lives outside of conventional society, and just really like, taking it back to how we should be living as human beings.
Yeah, that's very exciting. How long will that? Is there a time limit that documentary needs to be submitted? Is it 20 minutes, half hour, an hour?
25 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's a mid-length.
And I imagine too, like that's pretty challenging to try to edit. And you're like, hey, like I really want this in there, but it goes for 3 minutes, and
it's so hard, man. Like I've written so many scripts, chopped scripts, like rewritten, and then it's like I'll send it to Phil, and Phil will be like, hey, bro, we've got to cut some bits because the song doesn't match. And he's like real particular with music and the footage together, and he's epic at it. And at the same time, I'm a storyteller. And so for me, it's very hard I go from giving all of it. He's like, all right, we need to chop some bits. And then I go to this end, it's just like, there's not enough. And I've just got to find that sweet spot in the middle. Yeah.
Have you read, I can't remember if we spoke about it before. Have you read Michael A. Singer's book, The Surrender Experiment?
Sure have.
When you talk about that village, like that's what comes into my mind, right? Like that's
exactly what I want to build.
Yeah. And it's kind of resonates as well, because it's like, especially with the tech stuff that you have going on. Even my accountant actually recommended me that book. He's like, when I was telling him about the tech that we're building, he's like, fuck, have you read that book? And I've got I've got his actual cards. What's his other book that he wrote? The Unearthed Soul. It's like
Untethered
Soul. Yeah. It's like a 52 card pack with like affirmations, so you can fucking shuffle them every day. And I had them on my desk, and he's like, have you read The Surrender Experiment by Michael? I was like, no. He said, fuck, bro, you have to read that. And then when I read it, and I think you probably done the same thing. It's like, I feel like I'm that guy.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. I was reading that when I was prepping for the run. Like someone had told me about the Untethered Soul. Actually, no, I heard it because the run was inspired by Mike Posner, when Mike Posner walked across America, and in one of his songs he talks about the Untethered Soul. So I read it, and then someone said to me, you got to read The Surrender Experiment. That's the best one. And so I read it. I remember exactly where I was running when I read half of it. And I was just like, this feels like everything that I'm feeling. This just feels like my story playing out real time.
Yeah. It's incredible, dude. It's incredible. So that village, I think the village will be, and again, like once you build that thing, like that will attract other like-minded people, right? And I think off the back of COVID as well, there's a lot of people that sort of, I think like half jokingly sort of say, let's go move into the hills and fucking build a veggie garden. Like, but it's gangster if someone actually does do that, and does, and how does it, I guess you figure it out all after, but it's like, do you have like some sort of, like, is there people that have done it before? Surely someone's done it, right? In some capacity.
Yeah. I've been to a few. Like I went to one in Crescent Head when we were living there last year, and it's more of a commune. Like it's a community for sure. In terms of like the essence of what it is, I don't want to remove the modern society that we live in. Like we have an abundance of tech dwellings, things that make life really enjoyable, and I don't want to remove that. But I want to bring the essence of how we can live off the land, how we can live as community, how we have access to all different types of medicine that aren't like pharmaceutical products, all of the things. I want to bring that to the space so that humans can live in a modern way, but collectively and cohesively, we can provide an opportunity for our children to really overcome the shit that we've all been through, as adults now, and the ones that our parents and our grandparents went through. So for me, it's like, building, and also like next year, I've put this on the calendar. Next year, I'm going to go visit the 5 blue zones. Do you know about the blue zones?
Yeah.
I'm going to go visit each city in those zones and immerse myself, and that's going to be part of the documentary as well. Immersing myself in that community and learning about what they do, how they do it, more so than what you read. I read it in the book Ikigai. I don't know if you've read that.
No.
And I was instantly like, fuck, I need to know these things because this is what I want to bring to the village. This is what I want to bring to the community that I build. And so finding a block of land that's 100+ acres, multi-dwellings, communal living areas, like Zen locations where, you know, with the tech that we're building, the proof of concept is to build it on the land, but then eventually in each major city having areas like botanical gardens and public transport that are groove related, and people can like leave their work at lunchtime or breaks, whatever, go sit in the botanical gardens and be immersed in AI space, but also being able to regulate their nervous system, you know? So proving the concept on the land and then taking it to each city and then developing in that space. Same with public transport. I want to fucking see big buses, cars with groove all over the side of it. And people go, they got their card, they can get on, the subscription covers it. They get on the bus, they sit down and they can breathe, they can meditate. Like it's all there.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be gangster. Have you read Atlas Shrugged?
No, I haven't. I've heard that book though.
So it's a big book. It was recommended me by a guy that ran a big company in the 80s and 90s, very prominent businessman, ran $100+ million company in the 80s in Australia. And I'd never really, it's a big book. Like the audio book goes for like 30 hours or something. Like it's a lot to get through. But it was like, I heard he referred it to me. Then I also, are you familiar with Patrick Bet-Davis from the US?
Yeah.
So he wrote an amazing book called Your 5 Next Moves. He recommended it as well. Yeah. So he recommended Atlas Shrugged as well. Atlas Shrugged, Atlas Shrugged, I think it's called. But it's like, it's an amazing, it's a nonfiction book. I always get mixed up with the two. It's not a real story. Right before the fiction book. So it's a fictional book, and that was the first fictional book that I've ever read. And I used to think, and I told you this when you recommended 49th Mystic, I used to think them books were like a fucking waste of time, like golf.
Yeah, me too.
And then what I realized was like, these are like an amazing way to communicate a message or an idea. You know, it's like it doesn't have to be real for it to be real. So Atlas Shrugged is amazing because it talks about like that village. Like this is a book that's based in the early 1900s, and it's all these really prominent guys that made a lot of money out of rail, iron ore, steel in the US, and they basically create all these people are going missing. Without giving too much of it away, they basically create this fucking invisible land, and they all meet there. And so there's guys that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars in the early 1900s that go there, and they all have like their own little part that they play in their community. So, you know, they might make clothes or they grow corn, then someone grows pumpkin, and there's a guy that fixes the fucking bikes, you know, and had a really powerful message. It's a lot to get through the book, but there's some really, really amazing takeaways in it.
That's how it should be.
Yeah. And similar to that, the 49th Mystic, we actually haven't really, like, I know that I sort of communicated some of the parts that I liked about that book, but we haven't really caught up since I finished that book. But the thing that really stuck out to me, that was and I'm not sure, I guess everyone takes a different message from it, but the thing that really stuck out to me was that you don't have to be able to see things to not be blinded by something. And I was like, like we can physically see, but we're still blinded towards maybe thoughts or maybe ideas, and we don't allow ourselves to be able to see clearly. And I thought that was a very powerful book too, because you can't deliver a message that strong in a real life experience. Like no one's done that before. So it's just it's an amazing vehicle to deliver that message. And I thought it was an incredible book.
Dude, it's the key takeaway. Have you read Rise of the Mystics yet?
No.
Yeah, so it goes on for number 2, and there's a trilogy, like it's a bigger version, but the key message throughout the whole series to me was exactly what Yeshua would say is what can be seen that cannot be seen, right?
Yeah.
And that's all I kept thinking. And to this day is the lesson I continue to learn. And what's really interesting about that is, Ted Decker's a Christian, and he's not a born-again Christian or anything like that, but believes in spirituality from a Christian perspective. And like the detail in the book, like, all right, every time Rochelle receives a pretty prominent message and she's integrating it, it's always delivered in this like fantasy like framework. When the Roush come and talk to her, it's like, oh my God, what are these things, and all of the things. And then you've got the scabs and the Elionites and all of the things. And what's quite interesting about that coming from a Christian, and then my perspective, working with like plant medicines and psychedelics, I have had experiences like that, where I've gone in to do some deep inner work, and all the messages or the downloads that I'm receiving or my soul is receiving is from these fantasy like beings that are like working in different realms. And to experience that and then read the book, it was just like, it was so conflicting. I mean, I can't assume to know that he's been with psychedelics or anything like that, but the way that he was presenting the story metaphorically matched my reality of what I had experienced. And so every time Yeshua would say, what can be seen that cannot be seen, it's just like, wow, that's the message,
When you're in that ceremony, like with that plant medicine, does that feel like real life, or you're aware that it's not? Like, what does that feel like?
It feels like I'm remembering. So every time I drop in, whether it be with psilocybin, ayahuasca, wachuma, even MDMA and ketamine sometimes, my soul is being able to step out of my body. We're separate from one another, and we're able to have this conversation. My soul is able to communicate with me what my role here is in this 3D existence right now in this life as William Burnett, and then be able to instruct my body, my physical body, on how to engage and move forward with purpose. And when I'm in that space and connected to my soul, it feels like I'm remembering. Like, you ever seen The Matrix and you plug Neo in and Neo gets this download or this upload, so to speak, and then all of a sudden he knows these things? It's exactly like that. It's like being plugged in and remembering all the things that I've known in previous lives, and then coming back to the 3D body, and my soul goes, all right, it's time to go to work. And then I go to work. So
when you come back into that 3D life and go to work, like, does that fade over time? Like all them feelings, does that depreciate? Yeah.
I love the way that you asked that question, because that is the real key that I'm working with right now with my clients. Is you can go to this space and you can heal trauma, you can get downloads, you can get insights, you can get all the things. And it's not until you leave that space and return to your environment does the environment start to signal you to start behaving in the way that you did prior to the ceremony. Now, when you leave, and I've seen it time and time again, people leave ceremony completely transformed, completely different person, right? It's not until they go back and then the people that are in that environment, the work that they're doing, the lifestyle that they're living goes, hey, remember, you're still this identity, so I need you to be that identity. Yeah. And they're like, oh, yeah, I'm still that identity. And they quickly forget, no, I'm not that identity. That's just a part of who I was, not who I am. Yeah. And so that's where the work is right now. That's the integration piece. It's going back and being present with the stuff that you've learned, the lessons you've learned, and then being fixed in your purpose and your intention to integrate those downloads and be like, no, this is who I am stepping forward. And what's really cool about that is you get to practice communication, for instance. Like, if I come out of ceremony and I've had these wild insights or downloads come through, the first thing I'll do is go and talk to my wife, and I'll sit her down and I'll say, hey, this is what's come through to me. This is how I'm going to integrate it, and I need your support. I may be behaving differently, or I may start to do different things. Please be open and transparent with me about communication so that we can navigate this together. But my intention moving forward is to be this person. And so now I have a teammate. I have somebody that can hold me accountable and be aware, so that I'm not just coming out of ceremony and the next 4 days she's like, you are acting like a fucking weirdo. Like, what the hell's going on? And then that creates a disrupt. And if that's disrupted and I'm like triggered by her being upset because I'm different, then I'm like, oh, I must have to return to that other person. But I don't want to be that other person. So communication and connection is key.
I think even like the environment as well. And I use like my experience, and I'm just going to assume, but actually I won't assume because it's you, but I'll use myself as an example. It's like when I was in coal mining, it's like I never identified as that person, but I was in that environment. And I'm not sure if that was the same as the military, but it was like people, because I worked in a coal mine, people would say that like I'm a coal miner and like that's what I'd done, but that's not who I was. And it wasn't until I left that environment and then I could really be not a coal miner, you know, because I wasn't there. And it's actually really funny because it's like when someone makes a positive change, even a negative change, to be honest, as well. It's like if you say, for example, you know, you start going to the gym, okay, and then like people will look at you going to the gym. It's like, oh yeah, Will always goes to the gym. It's like, but maybe for the longest time or your whole previous life, you weren't going to the gym, but people see you now, and it's really funny because it's like the perception of community or the perception from other people. Their perception can like change the idea that you have on yourself, and like you can not go. I don't know if I can fucking explain it properly, but like you can not do something your whole life and then start doing something and then be that person.
Yeah.
Or you can do something your whole life and stop doing it for a fucking week and then not be that person as well. And I think that's a really important lesson because we're not fucking stuck in there always. You can always change. And that's why I like sunrises so much, is because that's a symbol to me about change. It's like whatever happened yesterday, if I didn't like it, then I have an opportunity to not be that or to change it. Or if I do like it, I have an opportunity to continue it. And I think that's powerful.
Absolutely. The identity piece is massive. And I believe that's where we're struggling right now in society. Like just as a holistic narrative is this identity of who we think we are. And really it's a preconceived idea of who we were raised to think that we are, not actually who we actually are. And in the book, the 3 questions written by Don Miguel Ruiz, one of the questions is, who am I? You will know who you are when you start experience who you're not, right? And like, if I go to CrossFit, and I've done CrossFit for over 10 years, does that make me a CrossFitter? Well, for some people, their perception is, yes, that makes you a CrossFitter. For me, I'm utilizing a modality to keep my body in check and healthy, right? So I'm not a CrossFitter, I'm Will, and I utilize CrossFit as a tool to keep myself healthy and in shape and mobile and functional. So the perception piece is huge, and it's not because people need you to be that, although that can be the case. The case is that people are so unsure about who they are that the association to these places or identities feels a lot more comfortable to sit in. Henceforth, we have all of these titles and genders and all of the things. It's like, we don't need to create that. All we need to do is just go, hey, who are you? That's who you want to be? Cool. I got you. You be you, you know, and do what you want to do. Freely express yourself, but just be you. You don't need a title.
Yeah. And I was talking to a guy about this yesterday and we're talking about gambling. It's like, if you gamble, it doesn't really matter if you have it under control or not, you're still a gambler. Right. And it's like you can have a marriage. So again, like that's my perception. Maybe I'm incorrect or wrong, but and I also thought of it as well. Like if you can have you can have a relationship or be in a marriage for a long period of time, right, and be faithful. But if you are unfaithful or you're cheat on your partner, then like, are you a cheater? Like, are you a cheater or did you cheat? You know, it's a fine line, right? Because it's like you for the longest time you didn't do anything, and then one time you did. Does that tarnish everything, or is it like, does it not? Like I don't know the answer to that, but my gut says that like you almost get that label, right? Like you're a cheater if you cheated once, or you took that action, then you've broken that faith, so you are that person in some element.
Well, that's the thing I'm talking about, man. In society, is like if you are at 7 years, you're married, you're faithful, you're loyal, all the things. You go out one night, you sleep with someone, and you come back, you have the conversation. This is what happened. Now, for the most part, most relationships will be, you are a cheater, the relationship is stopping, or we're going to have a big bash about it. Okay, that's what most of society does. Much rather than, hey, let's look at the cause as to what influenced you to go take those actions. You know, because if you've been faithful for 7 years and on one night out of the 7 years you decide to go, it's not like a premeditated thing. Something has occurred for you to change your behaviors or adopt new ones. And so it's like, let's look at that so that we can salvage what we have in connection in a society and avoid all of this crap that goes along with it.
I think too, it's like if my wife was unfaithful for any reason, like there has to be an element of responsibility from me, you know, because I haven't served her in some capacity, right?
Absolutely.
So I didn't provide security, I didn't provide love, I didn't provide something that she had to go looking for. Even it's interesting as well, and I'm trying to catch myself doing it a lot. And I'm not sure what the correct word is for it, but so, for example, I introduced you to my wife, and I just said it then. It's like, hey, Will, this is my wife. Like, I don't know. I don't think that I own her. You know, like I don't.
That's right.
It's hard to say. Like, I'm not sure what the right word is. But I don't feel like I own her. I don't want to say that she's mine because, like, it's not fair. She's not mine. I don't own her at all. She's like, we're in a marriage and we're together, and it's all good. But I think it's a bit tricky when you start labeling people like ownership. And it's actually weird because Patrick Bet-Davis, he interviewed. Oh mate, it's just in jail. I got out. It'll come to me in a minute. But they were talking about interacting or having a relationship with a friend's ex. Okay, and for the way that they sort of said it was like they were like, and I agree with most things that Patrick Bet-Davis says, but I didn't fully agree with this thing that he said. And it was that, like, say for example, you have a relationship with a woman. That's like out of bounds now for every one of your mates that you've ever interacted with. And I understand the premise of it because they were talking about it being respectful to the person as like, but also too, it's like from what I was talking about, like you never really own that person. So like, it's not really fair that if you have a relationship with a person, then they're now out of bounds to everyone that you know and interact with, because it's not fair on either of them people, because maybe they can have a connection that you never had and they can be happy and fulfilling. So like, I don't really get it from a respect. I don't think I'm showing respect to a person by not having a relationship with someone if that's what the universe wants.
And mate, and just to go one deeper, like we both have a daughter. I've got 3 daughters. You have 1 daughter. Is it our right to tell her who she's allowed to date? Or do we show up as the man and mentor that we wish her to find in the world? And then she makes her own autonomous decision. Correct.
100%, dude. And totally right. And it's like, that is our job, right? As fathers to daughters, we are the example. Like we are, and I see it now. How old's your eldest daughter?
11.
Like you're a couple of years ahead of me. Like I see it in my 9-year-old now. Like I can see, like she comes home and they talk about like this. He's got a crush and I've got a crush, and it's like a thing that they talk about. Right? They're at that age, but they're forging what they will look for in time of what a man is and who they should like. What a part, even like, and to be honest, mate, I don't do this enough. But like even like walking up the street and holding hands with my wife or putting my arm around my wife. Like I don't think I do that enough, because the kids see that. They're like, wow, like they're connecting, or there's love. It's a representation of love. And we're setting the example of what they accept. It's fucking very powerful. That's one of the reasons why I stopped drinking. Because I just knew exactly what you're talking about before. Like you can go out and make one mistake. Like I never used to go out and be unfaithful to my wife, but I used to go out. You're putting yourself in a position for it to happen potentially.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter like if how strong-willed you are. Yeah, like a lot of the times, if you're in that position, it's like that saying, it's like nothing good happens after fucking midnight. And it's kind of true, right? Like there's nothing meaningful happens. You know, you just put yourself in a position for something bad to happen.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely, man. That, you know, I've raised my kids around exactly those principles and morals. Like I try to be as affectionate as I can. And I agree with you. I don't do it enough either, but I try to be as affectionate as I can, not from a place of, you know, I feel obligated to do this, but because that's the way I express love through physical touch and intimacy. And so if I can show that around my children, then they get to see a different layer of love as well. And the same with the work that I do. I'm a plant medicine facilitator. You know, I've educated all of my children around the use of these medicines, where they come from, the sacred union that we have with them, and they know all the things. And now, like living in the society that they do, 2 live in Sydney, 2 live up here, and the 2 that live in Sydney live in West Sydney, and they go to school there. And so to them, there's a lot of drugs around the area, and they talk to me about that. And then they come here and they get educated on, the therapeutic use of like psilocybin, and then they have a higher reverence for those types of things. Just the same way they see me in a relationship with their mother or my wife, Cassie, they get to see the levels of that too. And so them just like their little beady eyes are watching all the time, you know. Cass and I just transitioned out of one of our best friends. We actually opened our marriage and had a relationship with our best friend, and she's been in our family forever. But even in the transition into physical intimacy, my kids didn't even bat an eye. Like they're just like, this is love. This is the house of love. You know, they see that and they don't make any, they ask questions if they need to, but they don't bat an eye. And it's like, that feels good to know that the way that I'm showing up as a father and a husband is authentically and expressed to its fullest degree. And my kids are receiving that. And so them moving forward, that's what they're looking for in life, you know?
So just to go back one step. So when you say you open your marriage up, is that like a physical relationship with the third person?
Yeah.
Or like, yeah. And they live in your, like, that's like a family environment.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. It's so cool that it's like it's not as powerful as that, but it's similar to like people not telling their kids what sort of fucking meat they're eating. It's like it's like, hey, what am I eating, mum? It's like, you don't need to know. It's like, what? Like, because they don't want to, like, they're trying to fucking shelter them from knowing that they're eating a fucking sheep or a cow. Like, it makes no sense.
Teach them young.
Yeah, 100%, dude. So that relationship they have now, like, that's ongoing, or was that like a moment, or that's your household?
That is our household. The current status of our relationship, we've just transitioned out because we're in different parts of life. But for Sarah, who is our best friend, like, she's part of our family no matter what. You know, she travels the world and does all the things. She's an incredible woman. But just right now, it's like we're moving in this direction. This is moving in this direction. And together we can communicate and connect on a level that allows us to navigate this as human beings who love each other unconditionally, you know?
I think it really highlights what we were just talking about before about like ownership. It was like, hey, this is my wife or this is my girlfriend. It's like, you don't own anything. Like these are free individual spirits that float. Yeah.
I'm Will Burnett, and I show up as this authentically expressed man. If you want me in your life, I'm here. If I want you in my life, I'll let you know, and you're here. Like that's how we engage, you know? Yeah, that's cool, dude. I reckon I'd love to go deeper, and I think we do that next week, man, go deeper into the medicines and stuff like that. Like I'd love to learn about like your experiences or what you've done or what you do. Because I think that's super powerful and something that I'm genuinely interested in as well. For sure, man. I would love that.
Yeah, let's do it. Well, thanks so much, big dog. We've got a couple apps up now, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, which is really cool. And we'll keep fucking pumping these dogs out and see what happens. But thanks so much for your time, dude. And I'll look forward to next week.
Me too, my man.
See you, bro.
Peace, bro.